Okay. Meeting called to order, 6 p.m. So the first thing on our agenda is an appeal from Thomas Redding. Is he present? No Thomas Redding. Okay, can we get the names of the other two people that are present?
I have a Mike Moran and a Bill.
All right, and are you submitting appeals or are you here to watch?
Yeah, I'm Mike Moran, and that's Bill Breslow. He's joining me. We're here representing the Witches Woods Tax District, so we think we're on the agenda for a little later.
Yeah, for a bit later. Okay. So that's the two of you are both Witches Wood?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so we're going to wait a few more minutes and see if the other appellants join us. So Ron, were you able to get over and get those minutes in, or?
Not yet. I prepared them, but I haven't dropped them off. Mm-hmm. You mean for Thursday?
Yeah, for Thursday.
I have a week, right?
I
believe they have to be submitted within a week.
I think when we make a motion and vote on it, it has to go in more quickly, from what I read.
All right.
Not that anybody's going to chase you down and slap your hand, but yeah. And John, did Cheryl answer you about whether somebody is supposed to make an effort to get themselves off the list? You asked her about the trailer guy.
Yeah, sort of.
Sort of.
Yeah, there should have been a personal property declaration submitted by November 1st, 2020. And basically, if the person had said 0, because that was true, then he would not have been assessed a tax.
Right. So you do have to, yeah, because I guess usually motor vehicles, the DMV, tells them when somebody is
it's
dropped
not
their registration.
In this case, it's a trailer camper, so it's a little different.
Yeah, and I guess Laurel Ridge submits that list. And we'll get to that some other time. I was just wondering if you got an answer.
She didn't hit reply all. I need to forward that to you other folks so you have the benefit of that.
Okay.
Let me make a note. Oh, there's somebody I recognize.
Who is that?
I wonder if we should just take somebody out of order here, since we've got the one contingent, but not the other.
I know there's something about being online that makes you want to rush, but it's really only 3 minutes in. So I think we should give them 5.
Okay, is that Woodstock time, not regular time?
4 minutes in now. Woodstock time?
Crystal. I'm using the chat feature to let you know as members of the public join, so you have their names.
Oh, you're right. I see chat over there. Yeah, I saw Randy come in. Hi, Randy.
Hello.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Welcome.
Tonight? Thank
We've
you.
got 3 appellants before you. Well, no, I guess one is Bungay. We've got 2 that haven't shown up that were supposed to be first. So we're just waiting to see if they're going to come before we jump ahead to some of you later people. Are you here for Bungay or for Witches Woods? You're just here. Don't know. Okay, not to worry. And Juliet, you're here representing somebody or? We don't have audio on you. Do you have a mute button?
You have to unmute.
Yep. Sorry, I'm here to represent the Lake Bungay tax district.
So you're with Lake Bungay. Yeah, I think you're third. We've got 2 people who haven't shown up yet. We're giving them another 10 seconds. I don't know. All right. And in general, if you're not up, you probably should mute yourself just in case there's any background noise. All right, so everybody okay with moving past Tom Redding and Doug Porter and on to Bungay Tax District?
This is Crystal Adams. Doug Porter is joining now.
Oh, okay, there we go. 6 minutes was the trick. Evening, Doug. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Excellent. Well, the person who was before you hasn't come, so we were going to let you go right to it.
Oh, good. I'm glad I didn't wait till 6:15. I wasn't quite sure how you were going to do it.
Yeah, I'm Rebecca Hyde. I'm the chair of this commission.
Okay, great.
Board. All right, get it straight.
Board. Yes.
Yes, board. And so you could just. Oh wait, we have to swear you in first.
I will swear him in.
All right.
Can you hear me, Doug?
Yes, I can.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear that all the information you are about to present is the truth, so help you God?
Yes, it is.
Very good.
Well, I basically have to go put myself at the mercy of the Board of Appeals. We screwed up and we didn't file our tax declaration form on time. COVID has caused some issues. We are remotely working on most of our office staff, and somehow this just didn't get done by the November date. I think I dated it. Wasn't even smart enough to date it earlier. I dated it on the 11th. But we've had some issues with COVID, but we've really had more of an issue with Storm Isel when we lost the power power wasn't too bad. As Mr. Davis will know, that we do have a generator at our shop, but we lost internet service for almost a week and a half. And we just didn't realize that our backup for our data was all based on the internet. And so when the cable went out, one of our accounting computer, which should have been backing up every night, wasn't backing up because it wasn't connected to the internet. And then guess which hard drive had to fail when the power finally did come back on. And so now my accounting computer is failed, and it took us a while to get it reformatted and recover the materials. But that was I think that was August or September. It took us a while to catch up because we're just a little bit backed up. And then it came time to fill out this form, and I think it sat in my in basket waiting for me to review it. So all I can do is say that we've been submitting this form for well over 20 years on time. And this year we didn't make it on time. And when my assessment came through and showed a significant increase over what I expected, I called the office and said, what was the difference? And was told that that's the 25% penalty being added to the assessed value. So I'm just asking if there's anything that we can do to have that reduced. Our forms are very detailed. We show it year by year. So the only thing that was really missing from the assessor's point of view was the 2020 adjustment and what we took off of our report. But that's all I can say is ask for mercy and go from there. We have been doing this for 20 years. I think you'll find that as a contractor, we're probably one of the ones that are the most detailed. At least that's what I have heard from prior assessors. We don't hide anything. But you know what? It does take me time to go back through and look at the details to find out which equipment have we taken out of service. And then I have to check and make sure that we actually did take it out of service. It's not that it's just sitting in our warehouse not being used. And then to make sure the stuff that we added to the service was correctly reflected.
Okay, so you're not contesting anything about the contents of the declaration?
No, because I submitted it to you.
Yeah. Well, you know, just thought I'd check, you know.
And as I do submit every year, we keep a detailed record of this because I want to make sure if there ever anyone has a question, I know exactly what information has been submitted to you, and I can show you with sales receipts that that's the equipment that we've put into service. And if we've taken it out of service, that's what we've done.
So you're looking to waive the penalty?
I'm looking for any help that you can give me. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay, anything you'd like to add?
Well, you know, it's interesting that I looked at the governor's executive orders. He gives us all kinds of flexibility about being late in paying your bills, but doesn't give you anything late about filing the report that allows you to send the bill out. And so that's it.
Okay. Normally we don't make any decisions on the spot. We, you know, mull it over and get back to you within a week or two.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much for your time.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right.
Have a good night.
Good night.
All right, so next up is Lake Bungay Tax District. Correspondence and contact Bert Hansen, clerk.
Clips, please.
But my memory is it Juliet who said she was here for Lake Bungay? You'll have to unmute yourself if you want to. There you go.
There I go. Thanks. Well, I'm Juliet Hansen, and I'm the president of the Lake Bungay Tax District.
Okay.
And first, I want to thank you for letting me attend your meeting tonight. Secondly, I want to tell you it's the first Board of Assessors meeting I've ever attended. So
me too.
Yeah.
No.
So I hope it's going to go well. I think that the clerk of the Lake Bungay Tax Association did send you the reason for appeal, and that was for our lake and Bungay roads, which would now be taxable. And we feel that should that maybe that was made in error. Some of those roads, first of all, are roads, if that makes any difference. But the main thing is that our residents are already paying. This would make it 3 taxes on our roads because we're taxed by the town of Woodstock, and we have our own tax bills from Lake Bungay. And this would add a 3rd tax on the same roads. And so we just thought we would check in with you to see if there's any way that we could get that approved instead of denied.
Now it says here, receive notice of the status of our applications for open space. Had you just recently applied for open space?
I'm sorry, what are you looking at?
Attached to the appeal, it says reason for appeal, and it begins on January 20th.
Yes.
The Lake Bungay Tax District received notice of the status of our applications for open space while the Lake Playground Drive and Lake Beaches were approved, Lake Bungay roads were denied. Had you actually included the roads on your application? Oh, because they're included as part of your taxes. Anyway, so had you just this year for the first time applied for an open space?
I believe so, yes. I mean, we've never been taxed. We've never been taxed by the assessor's office for the roads. This is the first time. Yeah,
I was just wondering if this came up as part of a new application for open space status.
You know, I would have to check that out.
That's okay. You know, if you don't know, that's okay. I'm just asking.
Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry.
I can find out from other folks. Yeah. Yeah, because it sort of sounded like paperwork was put in requesting, because, you know, the taxes are a lot less if it's open space designated area, and that somehow that triggered a reevaluation of the whole situation. But I don't know, I'm just guessing because we haven't had a chance to talk to the assessor about this yet.
Okay.
So
yeah, I'd be happy to find out any other information you need. We've had somewhat of a tumultuous year, like others with the pandemic. I'm not trying to use that as an excuse, but also we've had a change in our president resigned suddenly. And so I'm hoping that these things didn't slip through the cracks, but you know, if you have any questions at all, I'd be happy to try to find the answers for them.
Yeah, no problem.
Rebecca, if I may, I had one question that I'm not sure I understand, Juliet, and in the written appeal, you say that the residents are already paying a tax on the roads. And I read from that it was a tax to the town of Woodstock. So I'm trying to understand what's the flow or what's the mechanism so that I understand what you're saying when you say there would be 3 levels of tax on the road.
Right. Well, because I believe that it would, you know, we all pay our taxes to the town of Woodstock, which what I assume would include roads upkeep and roads repair. Additionally, then we pay our own taxes to our own district because we take care of our own roads. The town doesn't take care of our roads. And then if we paid this tax, that would be 3 taxes on the same road. Does that make sense?
I understand what you're saying, but I think my view would be that the taxes that your residents pay on their acreage or their residential property together with the improvements goes into the general budget of the town. Yes, some of that goes to support other town roads, but some of it goes to schools and other services that your residents use. Rather, there isn't a part of their tax calculation that's based on 1/55th or something of the road acreage. So that we don't need to get too much further down that rabbit hole or we'll drive ourselves all nuts. But now I understand what you meant. So that's helpful. Thank you.
All right, good. Thank you. I'm all set. I don't.
Anybody else want to speak to this issue or have any comments?
Okay. Well, it affects me directly, but that's another issue.
Okay, we'll talk about that separately.
Yes.
Okay, so we need to talk to the assessor about this. It sounds like you may indeed be double taxed. It sounds like there may be something we don't understand. So we're going to talk to Emily and find out what her understanding of the situation is, see whether there's been an error, and we'll be getting back to you.
Okay, I appreciate the opportunity to come before you, and thanks for all you do for the town of Woodstock.
Now, before we lose you, do we have it looks like I have an email clerk at Lake Bungay and a phone number 413, which might be for Bert. I'm not sure.
Yes, that's correct. It's for Bert.
So do you want to give us your number or?
Sure. It's 413-668-8368. And before I go, was I supposed to get sworn in?
That's what I was just going to say. What do you want to do, Rebecca? Do you want me to swear her in now?
Yeah, I guess you can ask whether everything she said was, you know.
All right, I can rephrase it.
Sorry about that.
Raise your right hand. She there?
I'm
Yep,
here.
she's there.
Do you swear that all the information that you have presented is the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Very good.
Thank you. All right, that brings us to Witches Woods. Now, I believe Witches Woods has a stack here.
Yeah, there should be 5 properties there.
Let me see, I got 1, 2, 3.
Well, Rebecca's counting. Perhaps we can get Ron to swear in whoever the primary speaker is here.
Yes.
Yeah, it's going to be me, Mike Moran.
Instead of Bert Hansen. No, instead of
Margaret
Maggie Houlihan.
Yeah.
Instead of
What is
Margaret
your name
Houlihan.
again, sir?
Mike Moran, M-O-R-A-N.
And what's your position with Witches Woods?
I'm the president of the board of the Witches Woods Tax District.
Okay, you want to be sworn in?
Yes, please.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear that all the information you are about to present is the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, first of all, I want to thank the 3 of you for serving on a board like this. It's my understanding you guys are unpaid volunteers, and so is our board. And so,
well, we do get a stipend.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm still grateful that you serve, because I know that these municipal and civic functions are so important to our community, and it takes people that are willing to step up and do it. So thank you. Like Julia, this is my first rodeo at Board of Assessment Appeals. And I'm joined, by the way, with a couple of other folks from our tax district. Randy Chamorro, whom I think you guys know. I think Fred may be in the background there someplace. They are residents here, but they also have a lot of experience in the subject matter professionally, but also with, well, about 3.5 or more decades of volunteer service here on the board in our finance and tax world. Also with us is Bill Breslau. He's a member of the board. He is a practicing attorney, but he's not our attorney. He is, but he does have some depth of history knowledge here because I understand he represented Joe Campert when this lake was being developed and subdivided and so forth. So we've relied on Fred and Randy and Bill quite a lot in trying to figure out what we're up to here. Again, this is my first time at this, and I prepared a little PowerPoint presentation. Would you like to see it, or do you want me to just talk? Whatever you'd like to do.
If you can get it up, that's fine.
Okay, I think I can do this. Let me see how this works.
Crystal may need to permit him to share his screen.
Did you get it?
Should be able to.
Yep, we got it.
Okay. Okay, good. Well, basically what we have are 5 properties that we have made appeals on. They were for nearly 6 decades tax exempt. And then we were notified last year that they were no longer tax exempt. It was based on the town attorney's findings from a court case done in Guilford, Connecticut, Guilford versus Sachem's Head. The properties in particular here come in 3 categories. So basically we have 3 points of appeal. 2 of the properties comprise the lake, a 50-acre property and a 20-acre property. 2 more comprise our roads, 3 roads, Indian Spring Road, Crooked Trail, and Crooked Tail Extension, but they actually are just, they're actually just defined by 2 properties. And then there's 1 more. The 5th property is a piece of the back side of our earthen dam. And so if this makes sense, what I'd like to do is maybe talk about the lake properties and then maybe take a pause for questions and comments, and then talk about the road properties, and then finally the dam properties. Is that okay? Yeah. Okay. Okay. So basically, as regards the lake properties, when we were notified they were going to be taxable, we made a Public Act 490 application for open space. And for these two properties, that open space application was approved. It was not for the other properties. When the assessor, we contacted the assessor to understand the dollar value of the assessment that we then subsequently received. And she had characterized it as a category called tillable B. Where there's that matrix in the Connecticut guidelines for Public Act 490. There's different sorts of land, different sorts of land use and associated valuations. The basis for our appeal here is that we think the lake is mischaracterized and accordingly overassessed. Specific language for tillable B is, and you see it quoted there, very good, light, well-drained, sandy loams, typically level to slightly rolling, have some stones. And then in that description in the state document, binder, tobacco, vegetables, potatoes, some cropland. Now, of course, the lake is a lake, but the original lake bed was swamp and ledge. And I sent via Anthony Pizzetti a copy of a corner of a U.S. Army Corps of Engineers topographical map of our corner of Woodstock dated 1945. And did you guys receive that?
Yeah, I saw it.
Okay.
So I didn't notice it was 1945. Okay.
Yeah, 1945.
Yeah. So
and actually, maybe you're looking at a picture of it now. Did I do that right?
No, actually, I was looking at the 63L classification, but that's another subject.
Okay. So
anyway, I did see it.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I think on my share screen you probably see it, right? And basically, where my cursor is there, is it up at the screens?
No, I've still got the PowerPoint.
Oh, you still have the PowerPoint. Okay. So hang on a second. Let me do that over again.
Yeah.
And see if I get this right. I'm kind of new at this doing a presentation and sharing screens thing too. So I apologize if it's a little.
I'm impressed.
A little clumsy. Well, thank you.
Oh, okay, so there's your swamp.
Yeah, basically, this is like where Woodstock Valley defined on this map. That's Route 171. You see going diagonally down to the left, and this basin right here is Witches Woods Lake. The basin above it is Bungay Lake. So this Witches Wood is the basin, and basically what you see there on this map is the annotation that it was swamp. Okay, in 1945, and so.
Does that really say Bungay CEM as in cemetery?
Yeah, Bungay Cemetery, I guess identified right up here. I guess that would be kind of like by Bungay Hill Road, I think.
That's right on Bungay Hill.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Bungay Cemetery right up there.
Right at the entrance to Laurel Hill.
Right there, yeah.
Oh, okay. No, I was just wondering if it was under the water now, but okay, I feel better.
Nah, it looks like it's up at about 630 feet of elevation.
Oh, okay.
So
that's good.
It's well above the lake. Okay.
It's dry.
Yeah, that's good. Good. So anyway, so that's basically the basin that was Witches Woods, and now I'm gonna see if I can get back to where I was with the other. Hang on a second. I'm just gonna screen share again and get back to my other presentation. Doesn't like me this time. Hang on.
We'll get there. That looked like two swamps. Was that Witches Wood and Bungay?
Yeah, the one on the lower left is Witches Woods. The swamp upstream from us is the Bungay Lake bed.
Okay, interesting.
Okay, so let me see if I can try this again. There we go. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so when we looked at that little matrix in the instructions for Public Act 490, there's another category called swamp, wetlands, non-farmable areas, ledge that also makes up scrub outcroppings in the farm unit. And given that there's no categorization for lakes, I think we would think maybe tillable BO was certainly mischaracterizing, because if the lake were drained, what you'd end up with is swamp, wetlands, non-farmable areas, and ledge. I mean, we know that when the lake is drawn down, there are chunks of granite ledge sticking up out of the lake bed, and certainly it was a swamp before. So the basis of our appeal here for the lake properties is that, our request is that under Public Act 490, the lake be recharacterized in that swamp wetlands category and so forth, and then the assessment appropriately adjusted. And of course, in that little matrix, instead of $1,390 an acre, it's $40 an acre. So that's a substantial difference in the assessment, but we think it's reasonable. Just continuing on this topic for a second, a couple of other considerations, a few other considerations. I think this idea of double taxation was already mentioned, but it's basically the idea that the value of the lake is already imputed to the private resident assessments. To give an example of what that looks like, there are two lots adjacent to my home at the lake. And one of them is a lakefront lot, and the other is across Indian Spring Road and is an interior lot away from the lake. And they're basically in the same location on the road. They're not developed. They're both 1/3 of an acre. They're standard building lots for the lake here. The one that is lakefront is assessed at $176,000. The one that is not lakefront across the street is assessed at $43,000. The difference in the assessment is because it's waterfront. And so, but for the waterfront, but for the lake, that real estate would be assessed at a much lower level. And that's true of all the houses around the lake. So I think our lake residents would say that the reason the lakefront properties are assessed at such a high level, and because their fair market value reflects it. They are ad valorem, and so the market value reflects that too. It's the lake value is already imputed. That, however, is not the basis of our appeal. It's just for your consideration. There's also a matter of equity here. There are other private lakes in Woodstock that are not assessed. Of course, as we just heard from Juliet, Bunge's now is, but it's our understanding Quasset's is not. Roseland Pond, Black Pond, Crystal Pond, part of which is in Woodstock. All of those, as best as we can determine from public records, are assessed at zero value. The nearest public space 490 lake that we came across is Ashford Lake, which sits on the border between Eastford and Ashford. And it is characterized as pasture lands and is assessed at $140 an acre, which is substantially less than the assessor's take on our lake. And then the last thing I would pitch is, I think we're being reasonable because we do accept the taxable status, but we would recommend and request a careful scrutiny of that criterion of Public Act 490, and would recommend one that is objectively closer to what we have here. So that's our take on those two properties. Would you like me to continue, or do you want to?
You can keep going. I'm interested when I look at your card with the town, it says 63L Open Space Lake, which I never seen that before. But you're right, it is at 1390, and I understand where that number comes from. Okay. So, you know.
Okay, well, I will continue then. Basically, onto the road properties. The basis for our appeal here is that we believe the roads should remain tax exempt. Kind of foundational to that is the idea that the roads are, in fact, private property, but they are de facto public roads. The public freely uses our roads. In particular, there's a lot of through traffic from the Bunge community coming through our road to get to Route 198 on the western side of our lake. It also provides emergency vehicle access and also alternate access in and out of our neighborhoods when, for instance, like a few days ago, trees are down across the road. But the idea basically is that we believe the roads are, in fact, public roads, even though they're privately owned and maintained. The second substantiating piece of that is, and I'm not real smart about the exact history here, other than to know that developments like Witches Woods happened, and there's been legislation that has come along regarding condominiums and common interest housing areas. And a particular one that was cited to me is CIOA 47-204. I don't know what that means. I'm just a lay guy. But under that planned community ordinance, it's a state ordinance, roadways are not taxed as separate parcels, as they are included in the assessed value of community residences. And our community here, which is Wood, predates that ordinance, but it in fact and indeed meets the planned community criteria. And then the final piece of this idea that the road should remain tax exempt is that that Guilford versus Sachem's Head court case. Sachem's Head is a private and exclusive community down on Long Island Sound in Guilford. It cites
how do you spell Sachem Head?
S-A-C-H-E-M-S.
Okay.
You know what? There might be an apostrophe. Sachem, it might be apostrophe, yes. Sachem's Head. But that court case cites that the basis for the taxability is that the common areas in their community were for the exclusive use of the privileged few. Insofar as our roads are being used by the public, not just for vehicle traffic, but a lot of foot traffic. People walk, people run, people ride their bikes around the lake that are not part of our community. And we don't have any activity to enforce the private nature of those roads. Again, they are not really for the exclusive use of the privileged few. And so we don't think that the rationale for making the roads taxable applies to our roads. So again, our basic appeal here is to ask that they remain exempt. Here too, we have some additional considerations. We already heard the double taxation argument. It in fact is in some of those homeowner association worlds, it's clearly spoken of, the idea that the value of the road is already, because it provides the access to the properties, that it's already imputed to the value of the properties. And like our Bungie friends upstream here from us, Woodstock doesn't provide any services for these roads, but the roads are maintained at our property owner's expense as the tax district collects from them. Our road maintenance is the largest slice of our budget. I think the legal technicalities of this side with our 100+ property owners here, this will be an emotional issue for them. We of course are just representing them here tonight, but I think I know how they kind of are going to feel about this. And then finally, the fifth parcel here it's a piece of land that it basically comprises like the downhill side, the back of the earthen dam. So it's like the base of the dam, and then the little flat space below that. Beyond that is it's basically the marshland that is the downstream riverbed of Bungie Brook. And so there are a couple of patches of some trees in there and some swamp. It floods seasonally. It is not separable from the dam, because that base of the dam is essential to moving like groundwater away from the dam. In fact, a couple of years ago, as a result of a dam inspection, we had to install some like tow drains in that area. So it's part of the working base of the dam. So it's not something that could be sold. And of course, the Connecticut DEEP requirements for inspection and maintenance, they're burdensome. The Connecticut DEEP used to inspect all the dams in the state. And about a half a dozen years ago, they stopped doing that and put that burden on the dam owners. And so, part of our tax expenditures here are to like hire a professional engineer and then do remediation. And so this piece of property is actually, whoever owns it is less of it. Well, it's a liability. I know it's part of the dam and the lake. Those are assets, but it's a liability. So our request on this piece would be to reconsider the assessed value. Because we don't think it really has something that can be defined ad valorem. So, so basically, in summary, lake properties, we request that they be reassessed based on the Public Act 490, like that wetlands ledge kind of description. We would request, as regard the two road properties, that they would remain tax exempt, and on that parcel that's part of the dam, its value would be reduced. So that's what I had to share.
Mike, your dam, does it have a spillway typical of what Bungie has?
Yeah, it is. It does. It has the same sort of thing. Yeah, basically, yeah, it's basically like a concrete spillway that then goes down into the Bungay Brook downstream creek bed.
Okay, all right.
And is it possible to get a copy of that PowerPoint? Maybe send it over to Anthony?
Yes, it is. And also I sent to Anthony a white paper that says the same thing. I don't know if
I saw that. It seemed like there's a little more in your PowerPoint, but yeah, I have what you sent with the appeal. Yeah.
Happy to forward this to Anthony.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So Bill, Randy, did I leave anything out? Okay.
No, it was a very thorough presentation.
Okay.
Thought you did a very good job compared to some of what I've heard on this board.
Well, okay. Well, thank you.
Yep. Can I just have a second to say something?
Yeah.
I did talk to Emily about where she got her value on the 490.
Yeah.
And she told me that she had checked with assessors from Andover and Lebanon, and that they were using that value. Right. I did them on, I tried looking at those on the internet. I didn't find anything else. But when you're trying to appraise things, you want to keep it as close to home as you can. And so if I don't understand, and she didn't explain to me why she has 3 tax districts in Woodstock, and Bungay is one of them. We're one of them, and Quasit is the 3rd Lake District. Yeah, Quasit has no value, not even assessment, and then exempted. It has just a value of 0. And none of their roads have any value. They're not listed as being a parcel, where our properties are listed as parcels on the grand list. And they've always had a value, but they were exempted. Then when we looked at some of the other towns, Thompson has something called Little Pond and Long Pond. Again, in Thompson, they have no value on those properties. Muddy Pond has no value. Crystal Pond in Eastford has no value. Eastford and Woodstock has no value. Rosen Lake has no value. Black Pond has no value. And so why, she went all the way to Lebanon and Andover to find comparable values for lakes and bonds is a little bit, I'm hard to understand that.
Does Muddy Brook and the others, are those separate parcels?
I'm sorry?
You said that these are listed as parcels and were previously exempt or zeroed out, basically. Right, Muddy Pond and Quasit and all, are the lakes listed as separate parcels?
Yes.
Do you know? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yep. So this would be a change of practice in town.
Absolutely.
Which would probably then roll on to the other properties. So this is bigger than just you guys, probably. And did this come up for a particular, did you call her attention to this in some way, or it was just that court case, Mike said, that might have brought the subject up?
Yeah, we just got a letter, like kind of a bolt out of the blue. And it was accompanied by a letter, I believe, from the attorney to the town of Woodstock that basically laid out the Guilford versus Sachem's Head case, which is a decades-old case. But
it's 40 years old.
That's
40 years old.
So it's unlikely he brought it to her attention. She probably went to him and asked whether there was any case law on this.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it was very clear that in Sachem's Head, they gated their community and did not allow public access at all to the roads or anything. And that was why the judge ruled in the way that he did, saying that if it were public roads or if it was open to the public, then he thought that they would be tax exempt. But if they were only used for own residents, then it was a private road. It was absolutely clearly a private road and therefore taxable under Connecticut law.
is a municipality like us.
Yeah.
It's an interesting case. I mean, I can kind of compare it to a private landowner who, you know, where it's not a community, it's just a private landowner who has a road on his property that he lets other people use, even though it belongs to him. I don't know how that's treated, you know?
I'm not sure how the battery, it was 100% when we started.
Should be good.
All right, any further commentary on these cases?
I can tell you we love being in Woodstock. I'm a new guy. I've only been here 16 years, but we love it. so I do appreciate that my property values are going up because it's waterfront, but it only imputes to me if I do what I don't want to do, which is to leave. Okay.
Yeah, that's true.
But really, I'm very grateful for your time and attention. And again, I'm grateful that you do this because I know without boards of assessment and appeals, this would be an expensive process. And so we are grateful that this exists, and we're grateful that you guys choose to serve to do this. So thank you.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Okay, so do we want to adjourn? Do we want to discuss?
Tom Reddick is here, so we can listen to him.
Oh, I didn't see. He's off my side of my screen here. It's true. Hello,
Hi. Hi, how are you? Sorry, I was a few minutes late. My 6-year-old daughter can be very distracting and persistent.
We need to, Tom, we need to swear you in before you can state your case.
Okay.
Please raise your right hand. You swear that all the information you are about to present is the truth, so help you God.
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
So this process is pretty new to me, so I'm not exactly sure how this is handled. I did submit some paperwork for the appeal. I'm not sure if it's a simple process, but to me, it appears that from looking at the tax documents, it has my attic as expansion attic finished, which equals 437 square feet. So if I'm reading the documents correctly, I'm being taxed on 437 square feet that is not finished attic.
Well, the pictures certainly show that.
Yeah.
Tom, this is John Davis. I had a couple of questions. How do you access the attic? Is it a ladder or a fixed staircase or a pull down staircase?
It's a fixed staircase.
And is there heat up there?
No.
Any electricity?
There is some electricity. There's light bulbs.
Okay. And it looked like it was only partially floored. The photographs you sent with your appeal looked like there was floor up the middle, but not under at the edges where you not have much headroom if you tried to go over there.
That's exactly right. Yeah, the whole thing is insulated, but it's such a big space that there's only plywood in the middle.
Yeah.
The plywood doesn't, advance all the way to the exterior. It's just down the middle for storage of, well, you see what's up there.
Like
Looks
most
like a
people's
crooked
attic.
chimney.
Like every house, I guess, has storage.
And the chimneys?
Yep, and chimneys are up there too, two chimneys.
Yeah, but you said they don't lead to any fireplaces?
No, there's no, so if I have the story correct, the house was built in 1860, thereabouts, and there's no fireplaces in the house. There's 3 chimneys, but I think it was built for coal stoves. So when I moved in, there was holes in the chimney for a stove pipe in one of the room. I closed off the stove pipe, but there's no fireplaces, which is really strange, but I guess it was just back in the day of coal. They had coal stoves.
Do you think there was a freestanding stove that attached into the chimneys?
Exactly, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah. I think maybe where the confusion was is if you're in the house, the previous owner built kind of a brick facade that was used in the kitchen for kind of a decorative brick facade to almost mimic a fireplace. It by no means is a fireplace, but there is a chimney off of that that was kind of so it would be the vent for the stove goes into that chimney, which has been closed off. So there's just 3 chimneys, no fireplaces. Okay. I'm not so concerned with the fireplaces, but I'm really truly just, just trying to correct that unfinished attic situation.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like either Emily, the assessor, or one of us will have to go out and take a look, lay eyes on it. And
sure.
Just make sure you didn't get that photograph from somewhere else.
Happy to have you over.
So on that, you'll hear from either one of us or from Emily and come by and confirm what you're saying.
Okay.
And see where that puts the values at. Yeah.
And I'll thank you again for your time as well. I didn't realize that this was a voluntary position, so thank you.
Semi-voluntary. We do get a little money for it.
Well.
But yes. All right. Well, you'll hear from us. Thanks for bringing your concerns. When's the last time, have you ever been inspected at any of the revaluation periods?
We've only been in town for just about 4 years. So no, I don't believe we've ever been reevaluated since.
Yeah. They happen every 5 years. There should be one this summer. So okay. Just curious. Okay. Good.
Thank you.
And you. All right. Any further comment or discussion?
No. Nope.
No, I think we're good. Shall we adjourn then?
I move we adjourn.
One question before I go.
Yeah.
The minutes from Thursday's meeting I give to the clerk, correct?
Yep. They go to the town clerk, to Judy.
You'll have them in the morning.
Sounds good.
We'll have a written version in the morning.
Very good. Yeah, and tonight we didn't make any decisions, so you got a whole week on this one and not a lot to say. Okay. Good. And we'll convene tomorrow night. Thank you.
Yep.
Have a good night.
Okay, thanks.
Have a good night, everybody.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Rebecca.
Yep, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.